Hi everyone, I'm Brandi Kirk from Kirk Center for Healthy Living, and today we are going to go over how to use a castor oil pack. I do want to talk about the elephant in the room over here that is probably going to come into the picture sometime while we're recording this. This is little Miss Olivia Wilde, and she's our little 3-year-old kitten, and she has an allergy, and she scratched her face really bad and unfortunately scratched her eye, and she now has an ulcer on her cornea in her left eye. So even though I'm not treating you, it seems like my cats are keeping me extremely busy. So we have a lot of stuff we're doing with her, and there's some manual stuff with lymphatic drainage that I'm doing with her as well. So she's slowly improving, but yeah, she's going to be in our shop for sure. There's no way we're going to keep her out of it, but she's miserable with the cone of shame. She's absolutely miserable and super adorable, but that's her. So, you know, try to pay attention to me though. I know you're going to be paying attention to her, but try to pay attention to me just for a little bit. So as far as castor oil packs go, I have become an expert in them. When I was having trouble with my kidney and the gallbladder and pancreatitis and all those things, literally the only thing that got me out of severe pain was the castor oil packs. That was literally it. None of the other stuff that I knew how to do from a therapy standpoint could pull me out of the abdominal pain that I was experiencing. So if the castor oil pack can pull me out of an 8 out of 10 drop me to my knees pain, I'm pretty impressed with it. I've also had issues in the past before this whole health issue that I just got done dealing with, where I would have this abdominal cramping that was so bad that I'd come home and just kind of lay down on the floor and be like, okay, go get me a castor oil pack like right now. It's just cramping. And within, I would say maybe 10 minutes of having the castor oil pack on, that abdominal cramping would go away. Now with the 8 out of 10 pain with, I'm pretty sure it was gallstones that were kind of moving through my system, it took longer, right? It took like for the whole hour for it to kind of settle down, but it helps. And basically, the castor oil, the way it works, and some of you, depending on your age, probably remember drinking it, which that sounds horrible. I'm not recommending you do that. And I know there are some things out there that could go wrong if you drink too much of it. So we're not drinking it here. We're going to use it externally on the body. And the benefits, and it's been around for ages, the benefits are to increase circulation, which once you do that, it's a cascade of health benefits once you increase circulation. It's also going to improve lymphatic flow. So this is kind of like a lymphatic drainage kind of flow. So it helps your body kind of get rid of toxins and not be so swollen. So that's going to be something that it helps with. The other thing it helps with is it decreases inflammation. Which kind of sounds weird because we are going to put a hot pack on it, or a heating pad, and so that seems counterintuitive, but it does help with that. It also helps when we talk about, we specialize in visceral manipulation, and so we're looking at treating the organs a lot. So it helps decrease spasms or contractions of smooth muscles. And the difference between a skeletal muscle and a smooth muscle is the skeletal muscles, like my leg muscles, I have control over them, right? So when I move my leg or move my arm, I have control over these muscles. And yeah, they can go into spasm, and then we just stretch them out, put some heat on them, and they usually go away. But the smooth muscles are the muscles that are in the organs or the viscera, or even in your blood vessels, they're smooth muscles. And so when they go into spasm, what do you do? How can you get to something that deep? Well, when you come in to see us, we can help you with that, but you're at home, right? So what can you do at home? And so the castor oil pack helps tremendously with decreasing smooth muscle spasm. So that's kind of why you're going to utilize it. I haven't really seen anything where you shouldn't use this, like, oh, if you have X, Y, and Z, don't use it. I would say if you're pregnant, I mean, you might want to ask your doctor about that, just because unfortunately when you're pregnant, everybody's afraid to do anything to you or have you do anything. So I would just get permission to do that if you want to. But other than that, this is fair game for literally everyone. Make sure if you're using this with somebody at home that they can feel heat. That would probably be my biggest concern, because we are going to use a heating pad, and so some people burn themselves with heating pads because they can't feel the heat, and so you want to be careful with that. Otherwise, it's good for everything. Those of you out there that have fibroids, there's a couple of studies that show that these castor oil packs are decreasing the size of the fibroids. I don't know by how much, to be honest with you, but it's not going to hurt you. Sometimes cramping, abdominal cramping, pelvic pain, it increases the circulation and lymphatic flow in the pelvis. So any of your pelvic pain issues that we treat at the clinic, you could utilize this. Any of the constipation is a big one. I mean, that's what you guys were drinking this when you were a kid, right? You'd have like a tablespoon of castor oil you'd have to take. Was mainly for constipation. And so there are some research studies out there that show that this helps with constipation, and you don't have to drink it, right? So this is going to absorb through the skin and into your organs and into those smooth muscles. We also know that it's good as a detoxer. It's a gentle detoxer. Some of the detoxing stuff out there is really harsh on the body, and so you need like a naturopathic physician or a naturopath or somebody integrated medicine to help you with those detoxes. This is pretty gentle, so we're going to want to get up over our ribs so that we get some of the liver. Remember, the liver is underneath our rib cage, mainly on the right side, so we're going to have to get this pack up pretty high there to handle the liver situation, and then really, really low, pretty close to your pubic bone, to make sure that we get some of that pelvis as well. So that's kind of why you would utilize this, is constipation or any type of pain whatsoever in the abdominal area. You could use the castor oil packs on other areas of your body. I haven't yet, so I can't really speak to that, but I would think you could probably use it on your back or your leg or somewhere where you're having pain. But for me, it's always been in the abdomen area, so that's what I'm going to teach you today. This is what you need. You can order this online. I'm not attached to any brands. I'm not trying to push any brands or anything like that. Basically, with the castor oil, you want to get a hexane-free castor oil. Hexane is Hexane, so a hexane-free castor oil. That's a certain chemical that we don't want your body absorbing that. So hexane-free castor oil, and then you're going to have a wool flannel. So wool flannel. And some people just use something from home, so some people are like, well, I'm not going to order that special cloth. I'm just going to, take a flannel shirt from home and utilize it, and that's going to be my castor oil pack wool. And that would be okay to use as well. However, when you look online, there are complete packs where you can get, the castor oil and this special wool flannel all together. I don't have the pack where there's also like a container that you put the wool in before you put it on your body. I think that looks interesting, because wait till you see what we have to do with the saran wrap and how difficult that is. That would get rid of that step for us. So hexane-free castor oil and this wool flannel. For us right now, we're going to use some saran wrap or cling wrap here, and then you can use a hot water bottle, but the problem with it is it's going to go cold pretty quick. So if you have a heating pad, I would prefer it. And then depending on your sensitivity to heat, depends on how high you turn it up. For me, this one's on a medium heat right now. When I was in an 8 out of 10 pain, it was on a high heat, and I just kind of monitored my skin to make sure I wasn't burning myself. So just be careful with the heating pad. So that's kind of all you need. I will tell you that the castor oil stains. It's messy and it stains. So I have put down a towel, and an old towel. All right? Don't put down a really nice towel, because you're not going to get this castor oil out of stuff. It stains pretty bad. So I've got a towel down here. I've got a towel on this little stool that I'm using. So be careful with that, right? Maybe not have any really nice clothes on either when you're doing it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the castor oil. There's a couple ways to do this. You can pour the castor oil into like a container and just keep it in the container, and then take the wool and dip it in the container, and let it soak up the castor oil and then wring it out. Okay, you can do that. So you want a lot of castor oil on here. I have used this wool so many times that it's, I don't know if you can see it, it's already coming off of my hands, okay, the castor oil here. And so you get to reuse this quite a bit, right? And so after you're done with it, you just kind of fold it up and kind of put it in a container for the next time. But just to kind of show you how I would do this, normally I would do it over a sink, but we'll do it here. You're just going to pour some castor oil on it, unless you want to put it in a container and then kind of dip it in the container so you're submerging it. For me, just because I'm already pretty soaked here, I'm just going to do a little bit more. And again, you just want it to where the wool, when you touch the wool, it's kind of coming off on your hands. All right, it's not dry, because that's not going to help you. We want the castor oil on your skin. All right, so once I've got that going, I'm going to wipe off my hands a little bit. The next thing that you're going to need is a piece of saran wrap. Now, why do we need the saran wrap? We're going to put this wool with the castor oil on it on our abdomen. Okay, we're going to put it on our abdomen or our belly, right? And it's going to be up pretty high, so it's going to cover some of our ribs. It's going to be pretty low, pretty close to our pubic bone, and it's going to wrap around the sides. So you want to take up as much real estate as you possibly can. I want the saran wrap to cover over top of the wool, right? And why do I want that? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is when I put the heating pad on it, I don't want the oil ruining the heating pad, to be honest, right? It's going to stain, it's going to be all over it. But the second thing is the saran wrap will allow the oil to kind of soak into the body versus soaking up into the heating pad, right? So not only does it protect the heating pad, but even if you have a really old heating pad and you're like, Brandi, I'm not really concerned about that, still use the saran wrap, because it'll help the oil get into your body versus going in the opposite direction. Okay, so that's why we want it. And again, if you get a nice little fancy whole pack on the internet, it might have a little container in it. I was looking at how much these cost. The whole pack itself, I don't know, I think $30 to $60, somewhere in that range, depending on which ones you get. Okay, so it's not too bad, and you get to reuse it, and this thing lasts you forever. Okay, it lasts you a long time if you get something that big. So we're going to take this saran wrap. I'm just kind of eyeballing my width here of how much of this I need. And this is where it becomes fun. So you take the saran wrap, you take it off, and then saran wrap, as you all know, literally will stick to itself. It will not stick to like Tupperware or bowls or anything you really want it to stick to, but it will constantly stick to itself. So have fun with that, but go ahead and put that down and have it ready. Okay, so now we're all ready. We have our cloth ready, the heating pad's already on, and I'll have my saran wrap. So then I'm going to lie down on this towel. I've got a pillow here because you want your knees supported and bent and relaxed. You want to be in as much of a relaxed position as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and lie down. There we go. Good. Okay. Now from here, you're going to have to be on skin. So for me, I'm just going to tuck all this up underneath my bra so we can get up as high as we possibly can. So the liver it's underneath the ribs, right? It's underneath the ribs. So here are my ribs. The liver's underneath that, okay? And it kind of comes up to probably about right there on me, right? So it's a big organ. And then it comes all the way over to about right here on the left side. So it's big. Am I going to get all of it right now on video? No, I'm not. If I was alone and not being recorded, I might put it all the way up on my chest
to get a little bit more of the liver if I wanted to, if I was really trying to detox the liver, or if you know you have liver issues, I might bring it up pretty high. For most people, it's about nipple line is where the top of the liver is, somewhere in there, just to ballpark it, okay? But most people, they come and see us, they have issues with abdominal pain, right? So they have abdominal pain, and they'll have intestinal pain. Maybe they have IBS or Crohn's or something like that. But they have a lot of pain here, or they have constipation, right? So they have constipation. I feel like if you had a ton of diarrhea and that was the type of IBS you had or irritable bowel syndrome you have, I probably wouldn't do this, because this will kind of stimulate your bowels. So most people that have diarrhea don't really want that happening, right? So constipation is great. Pain is great. Fibroids is great. Any cysts, like ovarian cysts, this would be a great thing to do for that, just to help with that lymphatic drainage of that area. Anybody that has like abdominal bloating, swelling, things like that, you would use this. Now, these bones sticking out right here, okay, of the pelvis, right? We kind of want to be maybe a little bit lower than that. So I've got some very loose jeans on right now so that I could pull them down. My pubic bone is right there, okay? So right where my thumbs are, that's my pubic bone. So I'm going to go down that low, right? And I'm going to go onto the sides as well. And again, I've got this towel to kind of protect our couch here. So we're going to take the cloth, now that we're all set up here. Now notice the cloth is pretty big, right? I'm not that big, right? So, thank goodness I'm not that big. So we're gonna fold it to whatever size I need here. Okay, so it's okay if it's folded. It's okay if it's like folded twice or even 3 times. That's completely fine. I'm gonna open it up just a little bit because I want to get my sides. Okay, so I'm coming down here on the side. There we go. That's where I want to be. I'm coming underneath, kind of up by my bra area. And then on the other side, I'm doing the same thing on the other side. Right? So I'm just making sure that I get my side on the right completely covered down there. Right? So you just eyeball this, and you notice I'm doing it by myself. Okay? So some people just don't have anybody at home with them. So they need to be able to do things by themselves. Is it more difficult for me to do this by myself? Absolutely. I would rather have another person just drape this over me and help me out, but again, you can do it by yourself. Now, I'm going to take the saran wrap and do the best I can do here with this thing. There we go. And make sure that it is just over as much as the cloth as it possibly can be. Okay? And then I'm going to grab the heating pad and kind of bring it over here and put it over top. Now, the other thing you could do if you wanted to, you could put like a blanket over you here or another towel or something to just trap the heat inside. Okay, I'm going to bring this heating pad up closer to my liver here. Again, my pubic bone is right there. Okay, so pubic bone, ribs, the bottom of my ribs are right here. That gives you guys an eyeball of where to go with this. So bottom of ribs, kind of the rib flares that are that stick out in the front, and then pubic bone is here, right? So I'm all the way down to that. I've covered the ribs. I'm underneath kind of my nipple line, but I'm pretty close to it. Okay, and now once you're in this position, you can hang out and relax, right? If you're in a lot of pain, maybe you do some of those breathing exercises that we've shown you, and we're going to show you some more later. Maybe you do some meditation, maybe you listen to some nice music, anything that kind of calms down your nervous system, especially if you're having pain. And you're going to keep this on you. I mean, everything I've read says anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 minutes. So 30 minutes to 90 minutes, that's a big range. I think you kind of have to figure out what works for you. When I was in a lot of pain, 90 minutes is what I easily 90 minutes. I might even went over that. So I kind of kept it on until the pain subsided. But again, I was just really careful that I wasn't getting too much heat from the heating pad. How often should you do it? A lot of times I use this if I'm having pain, right? That's when I use it. I break it out. I try to get rid of the pain. But if you're someone who just like has a chronic issue, something that's there kind of in the background every day, you might want to do this maybe 3 times a week max. So maybe 3 days a week max. You might want to spread it out a little bit. I've seen people do 3 days in a row and then off for 3 days, 3 days in a row and off for 4 days. Or I've seen people space it out where they do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? It's very relaxing, very, very relaxing. So maybe doing it if you have trouble sleeping at night, would be a great way to kind of calm down your nervous system before you go to sleep at night. Again, people with constipation, this is going to be big for you. I know in this newsletter that Lauren is going to show an abdominal massage, and so for various reasons. And so I would do, if you want to do both in the same sitting, I would do the castor oil pack first, and then once you take it off, then I would go and do Lauren's abdominal massage, and that would be just an amazing treatment for yourself. When I'm done with this, and I'm going to show you what we do when we're done with it, it's not going to be pretty. And when you're done with this, say it's already been 60 minutes for me, you literally just take this off, right? You take the saran wrap off, and then you're going to take this off, okay? And then the biggest thing that you want to be careful with here is you're going to want to wipe this off, okay? You're going to want to wipe this castor oil off. Unless you're doing the massage. If you're doing the massage, you already have oil on your body, and you'll be able to do the massage with the oil on your body. To get this off, it takes a lot of water and a lot of rubbing to get it off. Or I think if you take baking soda and some water and you mix it together and you put it on your skin, it'll come off. But to be honest with you, once I go wet this and rub it off, it'll come off for me. Okay, so that's the castor oil pack. I hope you guys like it. And little Olivia Wild wants to say goodbye, and good luck with the castor oil pack. I hope it helps you.